video, we're at the Rhondda Heritage Park in South Wales for their annual classic car show. Great mix of cars, some fantastic old buildings. Unsurprisingly, being in South Wales, this was a former mine, so got all the pit headgear over there in the distance, looking mightily impressive. For fans of lorries mechanical marvels, we've got a Ruston locomotive over there, a little shunter by the look of it. But we're going to take a look at some of the cars on offer. They've got a lovely mix of modern and older. So we've got a Jaguar XK next to the earlier XK8 here. We've got this fantastic Beetle. I'm loving the look of this Beetle. All Baja style. Ooh, got a Type 3 engine for a bit more grunt by the look of it. Really, really smart. I've got a pair of Spitfire 4s up at the back. Fairly late in the Spitfire story. And another small chassis sibling, the Vitesse here, alongside a GT6. So the Spitfire's got 4-cylinder engines, the Vitesse and the GT6 have the 6-cylinder. Lovely shape. But you have to say, by 1973, perhaps getting a little bit dated when this was so close to production, the Porsche 924. The car was meant to be a Volkswagen, but Volkswagen said no. So Porsche just made it themselves instead. Next to that, we've got a little Wolseley 1100 or 1300, complete with the light up grille badge. So these cars, you know, at one point the ADO 16, as these were collectively known, best selling car in Britain. So these were absolutely everywhere. But a car I'm taking a particular liking to is this AC Seeker. Very, very pretty coupe version of the AC Ace. The AC Ace is what became the AC Cobra. And we've even got a little hatchback on the back of it as well. The number plate behind glass. That is a beautiful car. I don't think they made an awful lot of AC Seekers. Various 6-cylinder engines, most commonly the Bristol 6-cylinder engine fitted to these. Moving over this way, Humber Scepter, the poshest of the Roots Arrow series. So your Humber Scepter gets you quad headlamps, side indicators. This one's got optional fog lights. I think you've got very distinctive wheel trims and a bit more luxury inside as well, a bit of wood. Yeah, it brings back fond memories, because my dad had a Hillman Hunter when I was a child. So yeah, lovely to see. Let's go and see what else we can find. So there are two clubs mostly represented today. We've got the Glamorgan Classic Car Club. We'll go and look at those in a moment. And this area is the South Wales Classic Car Club. They're represented very nicely by this Austin 1300 Mark III. So this is quite a late one of those ADO 16 cars, but were once so commonplace. And this one quite low on miles, but lovely condition. I don't think it's been restored or anything. I think it's largely original. Really, really nice example. Couldn't have a classic car made without a few tractors. So we've got an International here, Fordson Dexter, and another one here, and then a lovely International on the end here, something a bit more modern. And as you can see, the tractors are causing much excitement with the younger generations. But some kids been rushing to jump on them, not realising that this is a car show, you're not meant to do that. But you used to do that so much today. You go to a pub, there'd be a marooned old tractor out the back for kids to play on. So there's a bit of a display here by the Glamorgan Classic Car Club, and this is really nice to see. But it's great to see stuff like this, be inclusive. Citybug, a lot of people would say, well, that's not classic. And, you know, not classic in the true classic sense, perhaps. But if you don't get the young folk get involved with their daily riders, then, yeah, what future does the scene have? And just because it's not old and it hasn't got chrome bumpers doesn't mean it doesn't have a deserving place here. It's pride of ownership, and that's really, really good to see. It was the same at the Pembrokeshire Classic Car Club show we went to. Absolutely amazing day, great mix of cars of all ages. So yeah, good to see. It's nice to see a scene that is open to the more modern stuff, like the supercharged Mini here, the R53 as they're known, the big bonnet scoop to allow more power in. And we've got something called a JBA here. I don't even know what a JBA is or what it's based on. Clearly some sort of kit with triple wipers. Oh, someone's found a horn on a tractor. Yeah, it's an interesting looking thing for sure. Oh, we've also got some random bits of colliery machinery here. I think these would have been driven by compressed air, because obviously you don't want to be running engines underground, so you'd have a long pipe bringing compressed air to these devices to make them work underground. Fascinating stuff. Are you slightly distracted by the view? No? Okay. It is. It's what a spot. Now you cannot have a classic car show without an MGB, so a nice example here dating from about 1969 or 70 I think. But I'm particularly loving this Capri. Mark II generation, so the Mark III introduced the quad headlamps. It's a 2 litre. It's a lovely colour, in lovely condition. Vinyl roof with the rollback roof on top. It is a GL. It's really nice to see. So this Volvo 740 has caught our eye. It's got slightly modified, got the clear indicators on the front, but it was actually likely sold new by Lloyd Motors in Aberera. It's got a local plate on it, local to where we live. So that will be our local Volvo dealer. Still very much going today, still selling Volvos. Yeah. But this one's in lovely condition, lovely sort of blue cloth interior. Interiors just aren't that colourful anymore, are they? It's a 740 SE.
Oh, there we go, look.
Yeah, it's still got the original dealer plate on the back as well. Yeah. Oh, the headliner's doing what the headliners do on these, unfortunately. But otherwise, it looks a lovely example.
There's a Volvo doing baby transportation as a car seat.
Oh, yes. So there we go. Fun for all the family. 5-speed box. So I think that means it's probably the 2 litre. The 2.3 tended to have a 4-speed plus overdrive, like our neighbours Volvo. Hashtag not my Volvo. A lovely Ford Escort RS 2000 here. So these are the ones that have got the little extra snoot on the front. I'm not entirely sure why, aerodynamics maybe, just to make it look more sporty. I've got a beautiful Peugeot 106 Rally. That's like the homologation sport version. All stripped out, super lightweight, and very entertaining to drive by all accounts. Behind that, so it's a MR2 Mark 1. The T-bar roof looks lovely, and that's next to a Rover P4 110. I think that was the largest engine option you could go for on these. Those 6-cylinder engine with the inlet valves overhead, but the exhausts still side valve. Very, very smooth engines. We head this way. Mini Hubnut is getting very excited by this Mazda Unos here. It's a Roadster VR Limited. One of only 700 made for the Japanese domestic market. And unlike UK MX-5s, packed full of luxury and limited slip diff, aircon, really, really specced up.
I think that might be a Ford Falcon in a different body.
Ford Falcon, you reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. I think the anti-roll bar goes the wrong way.
Look at the back.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the back. It says Falcon.
Ah, it's a JBA Falcon is, I think, the maker of the kit car.
Oh.
But it's a lovely example. It'd be fun if you did base one on an Australian Ford Falcon. That'd be hilarious. Right, let's continue our lookings over this way. A lovely MGB GT. It would have been a rubber bumper one originally, so it's had a chrome bumper conversion. It's got a lovely chin spoiler on it, and that looks quite nice. And I think those little trims next to the headlamps are trying to mask the fact this would have been a rubber bumper, and they did modify things slightly. We've got another 924, 3 924s we've seen today. Let's have a quick look on the back of this one. Oh yes, I think this might be a 924S. So the 924S differed from the basic 924 by actually using a Porsche engine. The basic 924 used a Volkswagen engine, also used in the LT vans that people like to point out very often. But I always liked the rear wiper design. Oh, the whole rear window, yeah, very much like the Renault Fuego, which came slightly later. But yeah, nice bit of design. And while we're around the back, we might as well look at the rear lights of this Hillman Avenger. A lovely shape. It's a DL 1500. Great car, the Avenger. Roots didn't have huge development budget, but they designed a car which was fun to drive, had a revvy little 4-cylinder engine, and this one looks in lovely condition. And that's next to one of its siblings, a little Hillman Imp. Another masterpiece of design. Sadly, most people decided to buy minis instead, but more practical, I think, the Hillman Imp. I think we do know a few people who've got imps.
Person that claims to have an SM?
It might be. Yeah, I think he's got one. I think he broke it though. Ooh. Slightly larger brick here. This looks like a Volvo 940 or 960 possibly, as it's got the larger headlamps. So this is an evolution of the 740, but with a longer nose, a slightly higher rear boot line for a bit more boot space. And this one being a Wentworth would be quite late, I think, in the production run for those. It's about 1993, I think. So one of the more outrageously styled Fords is this Consul Classic 315 type with very, very shrunken Detroit styling, which didn't go down all that well with buyers here in the UK. This one's a 4-door saloon, but you could get the Consul Classic as a 2-door as well. Or there was the Classic Capri, the first use of the Capri name. Oh, floor change. There's a lovely Bush radio on the dashboard as well, but I think it's a recreation because it's got a USB port. Next to that, we've got a 1955 Willys Jeep. So after the wartime era, a bit more rounded bonnet than the earlier types. But yeah, simple utilitarian 4-wheel drive ability. Let's go and look at some of the more modern stuff here. Oh, here we've got a Mark II Golf GTD, it says on the badge. This is a much more modern turbo diesel engine though, 2-litre TDI. So that's presumably quite potent. Good to see. The Mercedes-Benz SLK, that is a gorgeous colour. So it's got the folding roof that goes into the boot. And then the C-Class next to it. The evolution of the 190 for the more modern era. Very classy looking cars. It's still very, very distinctive, very, very Mercedes-Benz. So representing the more modern side again, we've got a Ford S-Max here. We've driven one of those, the 5-cylinder petrol version, owned by that chap who might own an SM. We're not sure. Toyota Celica. Look at the engine bay on this. That is some serious colour coding. Like that a lot. Focus ST. Clap hand wipers peeking in under there. And a deadly Vauxhall Astra. There you go. That shows off some of the aspects of the modified car scene here in South Wales. The old Duratec. These engines are getting so popular for kit cars. So a Duratec powered MGB at the track day I went to recently. It was very, very quick. Saxo VTR. Here's a small car. But if you can find a tidy one of these, squirrel one away. Bit of a legend on the hatch scene. Really nice. And yeah, Corsa SRI. Corsa B. Passed my test in one of these, but it was not an SRI. And we've just found even more cars. Amazing. Very impressive. Morris Minor. It's like Trafalgar Blue, but with a white top. Wouldn't have come from the factory like that, but I'm liking the look very much. Mark IV Escort with Cirque number plates. That refers to the type of font. Very, very curvy, but very, very common on cars. I love the 4s in particular. Beautiful, beautiful bit of number plate design. It's got a spoiler off an XR3i or something, but it is just a 1.4L. This one appears to have EFI, which a 1.4L would not have had at this point in time, not even in 1989. So some hijinks going on there, but quite subtle. I'm liking that. We've got Hillman Avenger Estate, so we've seen the saloon. This is a state version. Beautiful bit of design, I think. Always like these. No rear wiper, sadly. And of course, you don't get hockey stick rear lights because that would upset the practicality somewhat. But really nice looking car, I think. So we've got an Audi TT rubbing shoulders with a more traditional classic in the form of this MGB. Is that Primrose Yellow? It looks like it should be called Primrose Yellow. Austin Healey 3000 Mark III. So this is the last of the big Healey line. Production of these ended in about 1968, 69, I think. Legendary cars. Another Mark IV Escort, this time the Cabriolet, which uses the estate rear lights, built by Carman in Germany, I think, the Cabriolets. Lovely Mark I XR2. Again, the round headlamps to signify sportiness. And oh, happy days. This looks like a Mark V XR3i because it's got a flat bonnet. The RS Turbo had bonnet bulges. Not that they did anything, but they did make it look sportier. And it is indeed an XR3i. That is in absolutely lovely condition. And interestingly, I've just noticed this. I'd never noticed this before in my life. It has a different rear wiper to the standard Mark V hatchback because it has to clear the spoiler on the back. I'd never noticed that. Another Capri. This one's a lowly 1.6 GL. This is a Mark III Capri. So I'll have a different headlamp treatment to the one we saw earlier. But yeah, an awful lot of these were sold with not very spectacular engines. So everyone wants the V6, but a lot were sold with normal engines, so you could have the looks without the performance. My other car is a Mini Cooper on the back of this Metro Mayfair. So Mayfair was the semi-plush. The Van Pla obviously been the most plush, but the Mayfair still got some lovely cloth interior, chrome door handles, and wheels look they're probably off an MG. Because I think some of these Metros had metric wheels, and getting the tyres for them a bit of a nightmare. Little Austin A40 Farina. It is a Countryman. It has got the lift up tailgate on the back. There's an evolution effectively of the Austin A35 into a more modern shape with the Farina styling. We'll apologise for the noise of whatever that is.
I think his name R2.
It's very noisy, but there we go. Another MX-5. This one's got the hard top fitted. We've got minis over here variously as well. I think both of those have been modified a fair bit from when they would have left the factory. This one's from, well, they're both from about 83, 84. This one next to it is got the Clubman snout on it, but the bonnet bulges lead me to believe that's probably been modified in quite a significant manner. Oh, the MR2's coming back again. Very, very noisy. And then we've got a Mini R50 next to the later R56, I think, the Clubman version. And then a little Mini next to its more modern version here, another Cooper S, and another MGB. Next to a Triumph TR4, that one would still have the beam rear axle. Stop getting distracted by the dog.
I'm not getting hit by the dog, I'm following the car.
Oh really?
Yes.
So yeah, Triumph TR4. It's got the Surrey top fitted actually. Notice the rear window is fixed, but it's got a removable soft top, which could be interchanged with a hard top if you preferred. And then we should probably go and have a look at the Mark II Cortina. She's bound to be a 1600E, as so many of them were. There you go. Yes, it is a 1600E Series 2. Totally original except for the front wings. So that's done well to survive. Lovely smells here, the proper smells of old cars. Marvellous. So this is great to see, a Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit. It's a fairly early one, it's about 1982, I think, and it gives us our headlamp brush moment. It'd be far too uncouth to have headlamp wipers on your Rolls-Royce, you need brushes. And you also get a pantograph wiper on one of these as well. There is a test of one of these when I was at the Great British Car Journey Museum. Lovely cars, just, yeah, unlike anything else to drive. Volkswagen Golf GTI, it's a later one with the big bumpers, I think, and that's now next to an Audi S3, and being dried off there after the rain showers we've had. And our final car of the show is this 1929 Rolls-Royce 2025. Got Park Ward Sedanka de Ville bodywork, which means this roof section over the driver lifts out. Sometimes they didn't have a roof section at all and the driver would just be out in all weathers. But it gave a greater sense of luxury for the passengers in the back. And look at the rear legroom. See the little handle here so you can wind up a division so you haven't got to listen to the tiresome driver. I don't think I've driven one of this era, but I have driven a slightly later Rolls-Royce of this type. It's got a right-hand gear lever, so it's right up against the door. Very, very peculiar. But it's a lovely example in superb condition. Was apparently restored in the 1990s, but still looks very smart. And it's quite rare apparently in not having a boot. It's just got a little luggage rack on the back instead. So yeah, that is a fine car to finish on. So thank you very much to the Rhondda Heritage Park for inviting us down. A lovely mix of cars, great to see such variety, modern stuff, classic stuff. That's really, really encouraging. And yeah, do come next year because they do this as an annual event.
yeah, it's fantastic to see the mix of cars here. We're just speaking to a young man who was actively encouraging the newer cars to come in, and it's really, really good to see. But the other thing is just to mention Rhondda Heritage Park. So this was the Merthyr Lewis colliery, and they had several collieries. Fantastic place to come and visit, even without the cars. It's got so much going on. They always have events going on. They've got a chocolate house, they've got a cafe, they've got a craft centre.
Well, where could people find out more about this place?
If they look online for the Rhondda Heritage Park.
I'm thinking more you're going to do a video on this
Oh
place.
yeah, and if you wanted, see, I didn't want to do that,
Do it, just do it.
so I made a video.
Yeah, we haven't actually filmed it yet.
We haven't filmed it. We're going to film it in a minute now.
Yeah, we are going to
But,
be making a video specifically about this
Yes, we are.
impressive location. But yeah, thank you all for
yeah.
watching.
And we'll see you in a future video.
Farewell.
Where are you going to put you? Good choice.